how it reacts to the flame. If it curls up, it starts melting and spitting.
All right, and
synthetic.
we
If
are
it just burns and
live.
starts acting like a candle wick, then it's usually a natural material. But this one's clearly synthetic because of how it reacts and how it smells, more importantly. Because you can tell the difference between the smell of the synthetic versus natural. Because it'd be really cool if they did a Yeezy out of natural materials, like some really natural materials, like some really natural rough.
All right. Thanks, Gubbins. Appreciate that. I thought I'd dress up. Whoa! People joining. Yeah. Hey, Mumu2. I'm live. I'm gonna be playing some games tonight. Maybe a bit of Overwatch, a bit of Apex. Just wanted to join a little bit earlier. Just get everything set up. Make sure my video recording software was all good. I'm just gonna eat a quick snack. Yeah, it's quite loud in my apartment at the moment. I've got my door open just because I'm doing some laundry. And yeah, but no, feel free to stick around. It'll pick up a little bit later tonight. So yeah, we're going to play some Overwatch, some Apex, maybe some Dead by Daylight. I don't know, we're just going to do whatever feels right. And yeah, just have a fun time. So in the meanwhile, I'm just going to be watching some videos on my monitor. Feel free to watch along with me. But I'm just going to watch and eat at the same time. So, yeah. But thanks, guys, for coming. And, yeah, here we go.
Rubber and a cotton upper or something like that.
Let me know if you can hear the video.
Let's see how easy this is to pull off these claws. Because that was a comment that we saw in the last video. Like, is it going to start splitting as soon as these get creased and I start wearing them? So we'll just do a quick finger test first to see if we can just peel this off. Because you'd be surprised how many shoes you can actually just rip apart with your bare hands. But I can't get it to tear apart. It's pretty well glued on there or fused in there. And off screen, we did a quick heat gun test to see if we could heat this material up to maybe loosen the glue or whatever's holding it on to see if it'll come loose. And as you can see, it just wasn't coming loose. So I'd have no worries at all about these claws separating or splitting or kind of peeling away. They're really well stuck on there. Now let's figure out the structure of these claws. A lot of people were theorizing that they were hollow. So let's cut one of these and see if it actually is hollow. So it looks like it's just foam all the way through, which it does kind of feel hollow, I guess, but it's clearly just foam. So if we take a durometer test, the Shore A durometer test, it basically tells us how squishy or how hard the material is. The outside of the claws are 45, 46. The inside of the claw is between 20 and 25, and obviously it tapers, so that changes the test results, but it is a significantly softer foam than it feels on the outside. And I'm assuming it's the same foam that goes all the way through the midsole, but I guess we'll see when we get it cut in half. And now, while we're on the claws, destroying just for fun, let's see what it does when you put the flame to it. So, it starts bubbling, and it just kind of starts melting. It looks like it's almost like you're melting ice. That's really interesting, because when we did the boost on the inside of the 350s, it kind of slowly melted and turned really sticky. This almost turns into a liquid, which is kind of wild. So another question that people were asking was, how durable is this outsole?
Why is watching this making me hungry? I don't know, man. Maybe
it is fairly.
Maybe I just cook a really good meal.
Surprising,
just very appetizing.
Like
I don't know.
It's that dense.
You tell me.
We do a durometer test on the outsole. About 60. So it is.
It's very good. I made creamy
I
pesto
think maybe
linguine,
it's the foam underneath,
but instead of linguine, I used fettuccine.
And a lot of times I think that elasticity.
Very good though. Very easy to make.
Some
One
of these rubber
pot.
compounds
Wonder.
helps prevent puncturing because it just stretches down rather than just letting it pierce through. And now one question that I don't think was in the comments. I think we just were questioning it because these eyelets.
Yeah,
they're just
some Yeezys.
There's nothing. It doesn't
extra
look like there's anything on the inside, so let's hurry and cut one of these eyelets.
Maybe a little bit of hollandaise
So, yeah,
sauce
it's
on the
just
side. You know,
just
on like
prime
the
knit.
sole.
So that
Just,
makes me wonder
crumple it
if
up.
you wore these for a really long time and these shoelaces
They kinda look like,
slowly
crinkled
wearing
cut
away
chips,
at this prime
you know?
knit, would it slowly
Like
rip
Smith
through these
crinkled cut?
eyelets? So we
Just
rigged
like
up
the
a
pattern.
quick test to test that.
I don't know.
And as you can
Maybe
see,
just me.
it did take quite a bit of force to rip those out. Maybe if this was not just a hype sneaker that was a prime knit upper, because you're not really using these shoelaces. But I think if you're actually needing these shoelaces to keep the shoe tight on your foot, I'd be majorly concerned about that. So maybe if you get these, just don't tie them super tight, because these laces are known to wear through the brass eyelets in boots. So now to the questions that we had in the comment section that were
I had a massive
super
sugar lucky today
Does it
with my
float?
friend Alex.
Put it in our little float tank.
I feel
It
very
floats. And then on
full
the
even from
floating
that, but
subject,
I know
we had
if
a
I start
question
streaming and
asked,
I haven't eaten
can the
something, I'm gonna
450
get
float on a
angry.
pond at a party with
angry.
a candle in it? As you can see,
It's
not
always
really. So
good to eat.
I don't know what that's for, but if you're considering using it for that.
Yeah, so how's everyone going today?
Also wanted
Having a
to
good
see the
Friday
test
evening?
test
Doing
after
anything
the
fun
Deadpool
tonight?
video. And as you can see, it popped
Let's start with
up
you,
in the feed, so
I
don't
Gubbins.
be
What are you up to,
taking
man?
pieces in the shoe. Maybe not the best idea, but and
Just staying in
it's
tonight,
silly,
playing
but
some
also
games.
it is important
to.
sometimes to know how puncture resistant your shoes are. Because if you're planning on wearing these in places where you don't want to get little things on the inside, or if you're working around knives or sharp things and you drop it, it's not going to take much for this knife to go all the way into your toe. And then for the final test, people were concerned about, what if I was standing on hot concrete for a few hours in Las Vegas or something, or LA? Would the outsole melt? So we put it on a little bit of a stove top, heated up to 100 to 140 degrees. And
They're
nothing
literally
happened,
cooking
so we
the
left
shoe.
It on there for a while.
I Gubbins, they're actually
At
cooking
around
the shoe.
160, it
You're,
started to melt. So you really shouldn't be too concerned about this shoe melting.
Are you hungry now?
It's not
Oh, that
really
looked good.
it's
That
not
looked
really
like
the biggest.
cheese.
So now
Mac
we
and
got
cheese
that preliminary
Yeezys.
information out of the way.
What do
Let's
you
dig
want to
into
call
this
it?
thing
Mac
figure
and
out what's on the
Yeezy.
inside of how this shoe is built, because it's a really awesome.
Yeezy Mac. Yeezy Mac. Oh, god. That's fun. Love Yeezy. A bit of Yeezy Mac. Oh, shit. I don't think I can eat all of this now. I'm just gonna put it over here. But, let's see how my laundry's doing.
Okay, we got it chopped in half, and it was really interesting how this prime knit curls up once you release the tension that's in it. But let's see what's inside.
Yeah, still quite a bit of time. Alright, let's see who's on the Discord. The awesome
So
play
now we
with
can clearly
Raptor
see that
today.
the midsole and the claws are one single piece of foam that wraps
Oh,
all
sorry,
the
I
way
should
underneath
probably
the shoe
move
up to
that.
the other side of the
Don't look
claws.
at that.
And we
No
can
one
see
read
this
my
is
DMs.
probably, it's got to be the most simple sneaker that I've ever cut it apart and ever really seen that was mass produced on a real level, because it's really only made of 4 pieces. You've got this prime knit upper, and that goes all the way underneath the footbed. It's not strobo stitched like the 350s where it stopped right at that lasting board underneath the insole. It wraps underneath the insole and continues up the other side. Then you've got all this foam is a single piece foam midsole, the rubber outsole, and the 4th piece is the shoelaces. So really 3 pieces, but it only takes 4 pieces to make this entire shoe, which I think is really cool, especially coming from more of a work boot background, where we dissected that pair of Knicks and had 80 nails.
At
in just one
6,
single
I will
boot.
close my
So the
door
fact this has 4
and
pieces
I'll
is
stop my
pretty cool.
laundry.
And here's the thing, there's no
we'll
glue
get
in
into
this
some
shoe
games.
at all. There's not.
Have a
I
couple
don't
more
think
bites.
they use any glue, and if they do, the only bit of glue is to glue on this outsole. But I think it might be part of the injection molding process to attach that outsole. So how do they do this? This is a really interesting part, because they stitch that single piece prime knit upper, and then they slide in a last, which is essentially just a foot shape to whatever shape the shoe's going to end up looking like. But how do they attach the midsole? This is where it's
don't
really
know how
cool,
they- I
because
don't know how they make
usually
shoes.
they glue it on or they stitch it on, but this is injection molded, where they have this 2 or 3 piece mold that they put that last with the sock on it into, and they inject liquid hot, basically boiling foam into that injection molding process.
Cool.
Let it cure, let it bubble up, and in that mold, it shapes these claws, it shapes the midsole, and then I'm not really sure how the outsole gets attached. It's either glued on really, really well, or it's part of the molding process. And this style of construction is ridiculously durable and hard to peel apart, because we've seen it with boots where we've got a cemented boot with glue and an injected boot. The injected boots are nearly impossible to tear apart because it fills every nook and cranny, versus the glue is just a light surface, and it doesn't actually bind the layers. It acts as a binding agent. Whereas this, if you look really, really closely, you can actually see the prime knit underneath that little bit
You
of
guys
layer
hear,
of
so
foam.
injection
so the
molding
foam isn't just on the
is
surface of
stronger
the material,
for
it's
making
fused all the
shoes
way through those fibers
than,
and comes all the way to the inside of the shoe.
gluing.
And you almost can't calculate how much surface area this foam is attached to. It's almost like this shoreline paradox. It's almost immeasurable because it's infused in every single strand of the upper. And
I'm just
another
going to
really cool
unpause
thing
my
to note
stream
is if
real
you
quick.
look
I
at the
just got to
heel,
check on something.
you can
I'll
see
do
the
that
mold
very
flashing,
shortly.
which is the little leftover bits of foam that was just barely squeezed through where